Good afternoon, Fabian Onetti, and we're going to cover the week of November 12 to the 16th. I was missing a few days, but we're going to talk about oil, what's going on in the markets. Argentina got the budget on the retail sales for the Christmas is getting ready, and there is a big fight with Amazon. We know about that. And this week was the week of the semiconductors problem. We're going to talk about the Fed, and you see an empty chair. I have a surprise guest speaker of the highest caliber. And if you look me in the background, I'm at the Acquedotto Romano Polo Club in Rome. My good friend Marco Elser invited me, and if you've been a client of ours for a while, you remember that this time last year we did the same show from the Acquedotto Romano. So without further ado, let's get into the markets. Oil dropped 26% since October. People were expecting that the Iran sanctions were going to kick in, but then at the end, a lot of exceptions: China, India, Japan, everybody got exceptions. So the cut in supply didn't happen. Also, Venezuela somehow stabilized. The American frackers kept popping to the new world records for U.S. production. So oil has, dropped significantly. There is a meeting December 5th on the OPEP. They think that they're going to try to cut some production. Russia threat to go alone. The Saudi says we're going to stay. We're going to try to cooperate. And clearly, President Trump has been tweeting about the power of OPEP as a cartel. So we'll be looking into that. But again, it was a big news that oil that many people thought that it should be at 80 by now or maybe 100 by Q1 of first year is not happening that way. So what's happening in the market this week? Down 2% again, Nasdaq 2.2, Dow 2, and the rest of the markets came along again. And as we've been talking last week and the week before, there is a repricing going on. The economies in the world are decelerating. The cost of money is going up. There is less QE, so there is less purchase of bonds in America and in Asia. In Europe, only Japan is buying more bonds. So clearly, we have to think on an economy that is going to grow less, and with the cost of money more expensive, the valuation of stocks and the like should be slightly different. It's very interesting that Jerome Powell spoke this week and for the first time acknowledged that the economy is somehow decelerating. The vice chair of the Fed said the same. So according to our economist, Martina Nidhar, sort of the message of the Fed is, okay, we're going to raise rates in December, but after that, we're going to wait. Remember, the neutral rate on Feds is anywhere between 2.5, 3.5. No one knows. We are close to 2.5. So some people might argue that the Fed got the message that the economy is decelerating and it might wait. We'll have, and clearly it's going to be key on the data. Very quickly, Argentina passed the budget for next year. That was key. That was part of the agreement with the IMF to get a zero primary deficit for next year. And also that it was key to get the approval of the chambers, which it did happen last week. It was a big rally on the market in Argentina, despite the rest of the markets coming down. So one of the markets that we look every day and we like, it seems that they got a big step into the right direction. We're getting into the big retail season. Remember, this coming week is Thanksgiving in America. Friday will be Black Friday, and then off to the races when most of the retailers in America will do 50% of their sales in this period of the year. And everybody's been talking about Amazon, how they have destroyed some of the retailers, how are the biggest winner in this battle for retail. But however, there was a very good piece in Amazon talking that some of the top retailers, Target, Kohl, Walmart, have really smartened up in terms of retail distribution, delivery, using online and offline, using their shops to do pickups, and how they're doing very well. So it's going to be very interesting to watch how these new retail sales develop. And so far, the analysts are thinking that we will have a very good retail sales this coming year. Remember, despite a decelerating economy, we have consumer confidence and the all-time highs, and also disposable income doing very, very well. So that's going to be very interesting. Apple fell again this week, one of these huge bellwethers of the American market, because it was reported that some of the providers of, the circuit boards and elements which are key to the Apple production of phones are saying that they have been cut orders significantly. However, Apple hasn't said anything, but Tim Cook, her chairman, has made a comment that things are going very well and on the right way. Remember, every time you discount that Apple is going to do bad, you're wrong. But the stock is correcting, like the rest of the market is repricing. And remember, we've been recommending to take some chips off the table. Short rates are at 2.3, 2.4%. So it's not too bad to keep some cash. Stick to the winners, stick to what you like. This week was the bad week for the semiconductor companies. Nvidia, one of the leaders, reported numbers not as expected, mainly because of these mining or Bitcoin issues. So big drop on that sector. So as I say, another shoe drop in the market now was the semiconductors that took a beating. So again, the whole market is repricing, not only in the US, but in Europe and in Asia and in emerging markets. So now, as a guest speaker, and thanks to my friend Mark Welser, I have Brooks Newmark. Brooks, please join me. Nice talking to you. Have a seat. Brooks had a stellar career in private equity with the Apollo Group, and then he decided to go into politics. And not only he became a member of parliament in England, but then he was a minister under the David Cameron administration. And since I'm here in Rome and I happen to meet Brooke on a beautiful event this afternoon, we're going to talk a little bit about Brexit. Absolutely. So it's been a yo-yo. We've been talking with clients about Brexit, Brooke, almost every day. You know, the pound, you know, is at one, not at the all-time low, but it's 127. You know, has suffered a lot. And last week, especially the direct London affected, you know, the English banks based in London like Barclays and Royal Bank of Scotland, and the British land developers, they took a hit, you know, 5, 7, 8% down in the market on Prime Minister May, you know, thinking that we have an announcement. We don't. We do. We look like we have a deal, but a few ministers quit, and always been the threat, the shadow of an internal coup, and get Prime Minister May out. Since you were insider, you're insider of UK politics. I want to hear your comments or your opinions.
Well, I think the most important thing is, number one, there's not going to be a second referendum. There's been a lot of chit-chat about that. I think equally importantly, we are going to be leaving the European Union on the 29th of March 2019, which means we're leaving the single market and the customs union. There is no ifs or buts about that. What is happening now is that all factions, the one thing Theresa May has done is to unify everybody. Unfortunately, unify everybody against her. Pro-Remain, pro-Brexit, Labour, Liberal, Green, Conservatives. Everybody is unified against her on this, which means she's probably got it about right. And I think that, negotiation is tough. Negotiation is about compromise. I think there is a lot of talk about a coup, but even if there is a vote of confidence, which in the UK means 48 people send a letter in to the leader of the Backbench 22 committee, which is the representative body of the parliamentary party. There will then be a vote on her, but I suspect the majority of MPs will back her. That will then backfire for the Brexiteers, because that will strengthen her hand in her dealings in taking her plan forward. So I think there'll be a lot of turmoil. The media like to heighten things up, but I think at the end of the day, she will see off any potential coup. She'll certainly survive till the end of March, and I suspect by this time next year, if we're here talking in the Rome sunshine, that she will no longer be Prime Minister. But in the meantime, she will take us through to the end of Brexit, and I think the markets will be a little choppy between now and the 29th of March, as rumor upon rumor upon rumor hits the market, whether we're leaving or not leaving, and how much we have to pay, and so on and so forth. But the reality is that we are going to leave, and the deal that she has signed up to will be pretty much the deal that we will end up doing.
So let me ask you, thank you very much. I think it's a very, very clear picture of something that investors and us and Winston Capital have been trying to kind of understand and grapple with, not only on the UK implications, but the EU. The euro also has gone down. We have the issues with the Italian budget, and which is also sort of a Brexit type approach. Italy is rebelling against the mandate of Brussels, and we want to do our things. And it's clearly we're going on a way of confrontation. By the way, this coming Tuesday, I think it's the formal presentation with everybody expects to be rejected, and we'll see what happens. But what do you think, Brooke, is the chances of like a hard Brexit, or that's it, we're gone, end of story, or you think that this negotiated plan that it was supposed to be announced, not announced, and we don't know yet a lot, will be most likely event?
Well, the choice is, I mean, there is Brexit. There's only one Brexit. There's talk of hard and soft Brexit are
Right.
immaterial. We're leaving the customs union. We're leaving the single market. That is what Brexit is about. So the question is, do we have the support in Parliament to get this bill through or not? And if not, then the UK leaves on what's WTO terms. And I think that's what people now are referring to as hard Brexit. Um, Personally, yeah, it'll be life will be a little more choppy if we do end up doing that. Personally, I don't think it'll be the end of the world as people see it, uh, but I think that more likely than not today, even though the maths in Parliament looks like she won't get the support for her Brexit proposal, I think when people stare into the abyss, I suspect the numbers will be there to pass this bill.
Remember, we are pet friendly in Winston.
Ah. Oh, I want to watch your interview. Tell me when it comes on.